But what is kind of the latest update on LeBron, and what are the Lakers going to do this offseason?
I'm told he's likely to opt in. That's likely. That's the plan.
I'm about to tell you guys something that will make you lose your mind, and I want you to just know that this is no disrespect to LeBron James. I think he is one of the greatest players of all time. His career longevity is something that might not get replicated ever again, but at the same time, for some reason, he just can't get out of his own way. LeBron James, a literal billionaire who makes $30 million a year just from Nike, is about to destroy the Lakers championship window over what for him is pocket change. And I mean literal pocket change for someone that's worth $1.2 billion. But here's the part that's gonna absolutely blow your mind. This happens to get even worse. Tom Brady in the NFL took $60 million less over his career to win 7 rings. Tim Duncan took massive pay cuts in his final years and won another championship. Even LeBron himself did this in Miami and won 2 championships. But now that he's richer than some small countries in the world, he won't sacrifice a dime. And wait until you hear about how much money we're actually talking about here, because when I break down the numbers for you later in this video, you're gonna be absolutely furious at how greedy this decision really is. We just got word that LeBron James is likely to opt into his $52.6 million player option for next season. And I'm going to tell you why this single decision could cost the Los Angeles Lakers their final realistic opportunity to win a championship with Luka Doncic and LeBron James. So before we get to this content, make sure you drop, like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to get the latest NBA news to your device. And now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? To start out the video, I have to ask a very simple question that in years past the answer was a definitive yes, but now it's actually something that is worth having a conversation over. Is LeBron James worth the $52.6 million? I know in the past this would be absolutely blasphemous to ask in the context of all sports. Teams would do anything to have LeBron James on their roster, and what he was able to do in the regular season this past year was absolutely phenomenal. For those of you guys that didn't know, at the age of 40, LeBron James played in 70 games. In those 70 games, he averaged 24.4 points per game, 3.7 turnovers per game, a steal each and every game, 8 assists and almost 8 rebounds per game. He shot 51% from the field and 38% from 3. He had a player efficiency rating of a 22.7. He had a value over replacement player of a 4.7, a box plus minus of a 5.6, a defensive box plus minus of a 0.7, and an offensive box plus minus of a 4.9. Now, when you speak in the context of LeBron James, this is actually not that great for him. This is actually his 4th worst value over replacement player of his entire career. But we're talking about just compared to the rest of the NBA, these are still incredible numbers. And it would suggest that LeBron James is worth the $52.6 million. But then you get to his playoff performance and we begin to have a much different conversation. As of the conclusion of this past season, LeBron James is 2-12 in his last 14 playoff games. Yes, you heard that correctly. He's won exactly 2 games out of his last 14 playoff appearances. We're talking about getting swept versus the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals in 2023, then hitting us with this gem to make sure the attention was still centered around him.
I had a lot to think about, to be honest, and just for me personally, going forward with the game of basketball, got a lot to think about.
And he wasn't able to get past the first round in 2024 or in 2025, getting destroyed versus the Denver Nuggets 4-1 in 2024 before once again losing to the Timberwolves in 5 in 2025. And this man is still demanding max money. And it gets way worse when you see what actually happened in the Minnesota series. This is where it gets a little embarrassing for LeBron. And this is going to show you exactly why paying him $52.6 million is highway robbery. In the crucial Game 4 against Minnesota, a game where the Los Angeles Lakers were literally facing elimination, a game where you were consistently seeing memes about how LeBron James has come back from a 3-1 series deficit before in his career, LeBron James scored 0 points in the fourth quarter. 0! This is your franchise player, your billion-dollar superstar, and when the game was on the line, he disappeared completely. And here's what makes this even more damning. JJ Redick played the same 5 players, LeBron, Luka, Reeves, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Rui Hachimura, for the entire second half, making it the first time a team used only 5 players in a playoff half since 1996 to 1997. And you know what happened? Anthony Edwards said, "I felt like they were gassed going down the stretch," and proceeded to score 16 points in the fourth quarter while LeBron James was getting completely shut down. Even Magic Johnson called out the decision on Twitter, saying, "I don't know if it was smart to play LeBron and Luka the entire second half after only having 1 day of rest between games 3 and 4. When we needed LeBron to take over in the fourth, he simply couldn't. He scored 0 points in the fourth." Which I know what you might be thinking. This is an indictment on JJ Redick. How could you expect LeBron James to play that many minutes? He's only 40 years old. Exactly. A 22-year-old Anthony Edwards was able to maintain his energy and dominate in crunch time, while LeBron James, who's 40, who is asking for $52.6 million, was too exhausted to even score a single point when his team needed him the most. The Lakers were outscored in every fourth quarter of the series 105-69, and only once did they crack 30% shooting. This is absolutely pathetic for a team that is led by a person that is demanding max money, because it implies that there needs to be improvements to the team. And by asking for this money, you're not able to make said improvements. And I'm not just gonna vaguely suggest that. You actually can't make improvements to the Los Angeles Lakers with the way this roster is currently constructed. And here's where LeBron James's contract demands get even more ridiculous. Let me put LeBron James's wealth into perspective for you, because the numbers are absolutely staggering. And once you hear this, you're gonna understand why his refusal to take a pay cut infuriates me so much. According to multiple reports, LeBron James has a net worth of $1.2 billion as of 2025. That's billion with a B. He's making approximately $30 million annually from his lifetime deal with Nike alone, which is more than most NBA players make in their entire careers. But wait, it gets even crazier, and I'll show you how this exact math just proves how ridiculous this is. Over his NBA career, LeBron has already earned more than $479 million in salary, making him the highest paid player in league history. And here's the kicker, his endorsement deals and business ventures earned him over $900 million as of 2022. We're talking about a guy who makes more money off the court than most NBA franchises are worth. Now, here's where this gets absolutely insane, and this is the part that's going to make you lose your mind. When we're talking about LeBron James potentially taking a $10 to $15 million pay cut to help the Lakers build a contender, we're asking a billionaire to sacrifice pocket change. For context, that's like asking someone who makes $100,000 a year to take a $1,500 pay cut. It's literally nothing to him financially, but it could mean everything for the Los Angeles Lakers championship hopes. And this is where it gets really frustrating, and why LeBron's decision is so damaging to the Lakers' future. For those of you guys that don't know how the CBA works, there's multiple aprons, and these aprons essentially hard cap teams. They're absolutely brutal for roster construction. But before I break down these numbers in regards to the salary cap, let me tell you something that's going to shock you. The Los Angeles Lakers actually have some incredible trade assets and potential signings lined up, and LeBron James's greed is about to make all of them impossible. And let me break it all down for you guys. The first apron for the 2025-26 season is projected to be $195.9 million. The second apron is going to be $207.8 million. If LeBron James picks up his $52.6 million option, the Lakers will have about $189.2 million committed to just 11 players, putting them dangerously close to the first apron. And here's why that matters so much. Teams that are above the first apron can't use the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, which projects to be $14.1 million. Instead, they're limited to the taxpayer mid-level exception of just $5.7 million. That's the difference between being able to sign a real impact player as opposed to settling for role players. And when you take a look at the 2025 free agency class, you'll see exactly what the Lakers are going to miss out on. For instance, Dorian Finney-Smith is expected to decline his $15.4 million player option and become a free agent. That's a proven 3-and-D wing who could be the perfect complementary piece, but his market value is clearly above that $5.7 million taxpayer exception. Players like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, the ideal 3-and-D wing, are exactly the type of players who command salaries in that $10 to $15 million range. And the brutal reality is that quality veterans who can actually help a championship team, guys who can defend, shoot, and contribute in the playoffs, cost way more than $5.7 million. That's bench player money, not starter money. But with the full $14.1 million exception, you're talking about players who can legitimately change your team's ceiling. Teams above the first apron also can't acquire players via sign and trade, and they can't absorb more money in trades than they send out. Basically, if LeBron takes his full salary, the Lakers' hands are completely tied when it comes to making meaningful roster improvements. And you know what makes this even more infuriating? LeBron James could essentially end the GOAT debate if he was to take a pay cut. Whenever we look back at players like Tim Duncan or Tom Brady, we never say that they cheated and took a pay cut and that's the reason why they won so many championships. No, Tom Brady is the undisputed GOAT of the NFL. And about 10 years ago, people weren't saying that. They were saying Jerry Rice was the undisputed GOAT of the NFL or Joe Montana was the undisputed GOAT of the NFL. Tim Duncan took massive pay cuts with the San Antonio Spurs to help them build championship teams. In his final 4 years, Duncan made $10 million, then another $10 million, then another $10 million, and then took a contract of just $6 million. That's $36 million over 4 years when he could have been making close to $80 million. And what happened? The Spurs were championship contenders and won another championship in 2014. As a matter of fact, all three players of that Spurs dynasty took pay cuts. Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and Tim Duncan all collectively took a huge pay cut and built a dynasty as a result of it. Then there's Tom Brady, who could have at least made $60 million more during his 23-year career, but he was able to make that deficit up in endorsements, a model that Patrick Mahomes is following flawlessly and is resulting in him having a very similar career to Tom Brady. And this is where you're going to see exactly how much LeBron's greed is costing this team. The Lakers actually have some great trade options and potential signings if they add more salary cap flexibility, but LeBron's contract is going to prevent them from making any meaningful moves. Currently, they have about $70 million in expiring contracts, including Austin Reeves, Dorian Finney-Smith, Rui Hachimura, Maxi Kleber, and Gabe Vincent. Plus, they have their 2031 first-round pick and 5 years of pick swaps that they could use in trades. Some of the players that the Lakers have been linked to include Nick Claxton and Cam Johnson, in addition to Walker Kessler. And these are exactly the kind of players who could put the Lakers over the top as legitimate championship contenders. But without LeBron taking a pay cut, the Lakers won't have the cap space to pursue these players, and their trade flexibility will be severely limited by the apron restrictions. Think about it this way: if LeBron took a $15 million pay cut, that would give the Lakers access to the full $14.1 million mid-level exception and the ability to make more aggressive trades. That's the difference between being able to add a legitimate third star or being stuck with the same flawed roster that just got bounced in the first round. And this doesn't only affect LeBron James's legacy, this affects Luka Doncic's legacy. This is leading to much more speculation about the Lakers' future. Austin Reeves is making $12.9 million this season on his 4-year, $52 million deal, and he's becoming one of the most interesting trade assets in the league. The guy can shoot, he can defend, and he's on a team-friendly contract that makes him incredibly valuable to other teams. And he's also rumored to be willing to opt out of said contract to enter free agency next year. The Lakers could potentially package Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura to a team like Brooklyn for Nick Claxton, and they could have a legitimate starting center while freeing up some salary cap space. Or they could package Reeves with Vincent and some picks to go after a guy like Walker Kessler from Utah, who would give them the rim protection they desperately need. But here's the problem with all these scenarios, and this is where LeBron James's decision becomes even more frustrating. Even if they make these trades, they're still going to be limited by the apron restrictions because of LeBron's contract. So instead of being able to use that trade to create more flexibility for additional moves, they're basically forced to make one trade and hope it's enough. Compare that to what they could do if LeBron took a $15 million pay cut. Suddenly, they could make that same Reeves trade and have access to the full mid-level exception to sign another impact player. That's the difference between getting one good player and building a legitimate championship roster. And this is where the news gets really spicy. Reeves is nearly certain to decline his $14.9 million player option for the 2026-27 season and seek a salary in the $30 million starting range. And that means this summer might be the Lakers' last last chance to get full value for him before he becomes a potential flight risk. Even his agent mentioned it, saying next year is going to be a show. People have no idea what's going to come. Keep putting him in trade rumors for second string centers. That's not just a coincidence. That's a direct shot at everyone suggesting that the Lakers should trade Reeves for role players. His agent is basically saying, you have no idea how good this dude is about to be. But here's the problem. If Reeves wants $30 million a year and LeBron is taking up $52.6 million in cap space, how exactly are the Lakers supposed to afford both of them plus any other meaningful pieces? So LeBron James's decision isn't just affecting his own legacy, it's potentially pushing away talent that could be part of the Lakers' future. Why would Reeves want to stay with the team that's handicapped by their star players' greed, especially when he could go somewhere that actually has the flexibility to build a contender around him? So let me know in the comment section down below, especially if you're a LeBron fan. I want to get your take on the matter because I still support LeBron James's achievements on the basketball court, but this one decision could forever alter his legacy. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.